Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Smalley Cross dealership in Derbyshire, where I've brought along my Royal Enfield Himalayan 450 to get it serviced, and we're also going to do a front brake cable delete. Right, here we are, joined with Craig once again, the best Royal Enfield mechanic in Derbyshire. How's things, buddy?
All right, thanks. Yeah, busy, but good.
I can't believe a year's gone past already, and here we are again.
I know, it's flying by, absolutely flying.
So today we're doing a couple of different things as well, or one thing apart from the service, which is, this is classed as the, is this a minor service?
Minor service, yeah.
A minor service, so we've not done a lot of miles on it. And when would you do a major service on these bikes?
6,000 miles, it's every 6.
Right.
But according to the book, every 6,000 is valve clearances as well, so it is a major service, so it is a good chunk of labour involved in it.
Okay.
The service schedule on the majority of them depend on books. Some books are slightly different, even though it's the same bike. Some will say they only need to service every 6,000 miles, but a lot of owners that have got this particular bike have come from the old 411.
Right.
The service schedule was every 3, so they are bringing it in for 3, 6, 9, 12, where a lot of these books actually say it's only 6,000 miles per service, but a lot of people want an oil change in between and just an independent eye going over the bike to make sure.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, that's the other reason I'm here today as well, because I've been doing a little bit of alterations to the bike, let's say, and I need to make sure it's still safe.
What you've done is safe.
Yeah, because one of the little things like chain adjustment for me, I couldn't quite get it right, and I don't think it is right. So it'd be great to have a look over that just to see how see where I'm going wrong. So we've got Amy B here as well, who's just passing me the package, and inside here we've got we're going for a front cable delete, because basically I think the plan is really I'm going to at some point cut this front fender down here, remove this section. So I wasn't going to do this originally because I thought this adds a lot of protection to the bike, etc. But actually some of the riding conditions I've been going through, especially things like the bog of doom at the ABR. Come on! I realised that actually once you're knee deep in mud, it doesn't make that much difference. So I think aesthetically it'll look nice, it'll give it a bit more of a rally look to the bike. But yeah, obviously one of the problems is when we remove this section here, we've still got this cable here, and we can't really have that like that, can we? Because no. it becomes dangerous then, don't it?
It's too easy to get snagged.
So if it gets snagged, you could be off the bike. So yeah, in the little package there, we've got a cable to reroute this and do that front cable delete. So have you done one of these yet, or?
Not done one of these yet. We've seen one bike come in with it already fitted, but I've not done one personally.
Okay.
But to me, it makes sense to have the cable run down that one side. Why factory decided to route it that way? Obviously, there will be a specific design reason that they go through, but...
Do you think it's potentially so you could have another disc on the other side, or?
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Maybe somewhere down the line, the design and development team are looking at a bigger version or an upgraded brake version or something, but...
And the rumour has it there's a 750 Himalayan coming out.
Yes, I've seen a couple of videos, shall we say, of the 750. Yeah, it would be interesting to see whether that actually is real or not. Don't know.
Yeah, it might just be a rumour. So this bike has now got a tracker fitted to it, so I'll be interested to see if you can actually find it, because I think I've hid it really well. So we're going to start obviously with the front cable delete.
Yep. Get that side done first. Get the brake removed, bled up, sorted before we start on the service. Do one thing at once. Makes sense rolling around two or three things, and
sure,
things get complicated that way.
Okay, I've already had the tank off a few times, so I know how to do it now.
That's the easy bit now for you.
And this is the good thing about these bikes as well. It's doing your own maintenance, and like you've said before, Royal Enfield doesn't hide anything, and they want people to learn how to maintain bikes, and there's no secrets here, is there?
Exactly. They are realistic in knowing the fact that at some point in its life it will be the user that's doing the service, and not just a service centre.
Yep.
Even worst case, something that's still under warranty, and you have an incident on the road, especially as we all go green lane in. We drop them, we bang them, we run into things.
Yeah, well, I can vouch for that. Have you had many people in with these that have got now these cruise controls, the Viridian Cruise?
No, I haven't. I wasn't aware until I watched one of your previous videos on it.
Yeah.
And actually saw it assembled, but no, I'd not actually seen them available.
That has probably been one of the best upgrades to the bike for me. Just when you sat on those motorways and stuff like that, and just to get off that throttle, it works really, really well. And you can see it fits in nice with the switch gear. It's not, you know, I've noticed on a couple of others they've got it kind of here and it's not in reach, but you know, this has been really, really nice. And the bonus is you can still get a discount with this as well if you use that Biker Simon code. I'll pop a link in the description so anybody that wants one of them can get one as well. But yeah, highly recommend the cruise control. Works really, really well. So this is where Craig here finds out that I've not connected something back up right. So we've literally got a couple of hoses to pull off, and then there's two or three different attachments there to.
I can do that with my finger up there.
Yeah, there we go, look. And that's it, that's pretty much the tank straight off. And I didn't even fuel it up for you today, I thought, you know.
It is nice when you come to do this job and the tank's got less than about 3 or 4 litres.
I've learnt this from doing it myself, that I've fueled it up and then, you know, well, you've got, what is it, 19 litres or something like that.
It's a fair amount of weight when you're trying to lift it up and be careful not to knock it.
Yeah, and then trying to put it back on again.
Pipes were connected and routed okay, they've not kinked on the 2 breathers, so no, spot on.
Actually, I've just spotted like an air tag. That's not the tracker, by the way. I completely forgot that's on there. The air filter, does that get checked at this stage, or?
Might as well, we're in here.
Yeah, because we've got the tank off.
Every time the tank comes off, for the sake of an extra 10 seconds, it's worth just pulling it out.
Yeah, and I've not checked that, so it'd be interesting because this bike has been through a little bit of mud, should we say? So I've got fears of, you know, boulders of mud dropping out where.
Well, this is what Enfield said when they designed this system, that the airbox intake was so high that you could run them quite deep in water and not have an issue with the ingress of water or dirt. So. We'll see. Yeah, well,
we're going to find out now. Yeah. I'm intrigued myself, to be honest.
But no, we would do this on the major service. Obviously on the major service, everything like this anyway, plug, air filter, brakes, all the rest of the bike. Okay.
So, what do you reckon?
Actually, pretty good. The true test is actually hold it up to the light, where you can actually see a fair amount of daylight actually coming through, and yeah, we're pretty good.
Yeah,
actually very clean. It's
that is.
It's not dragged anything into the intake at all, considering you went through the bog of doom.
Yeah.
And you were seat deep. That's absolutely spot on.
Yeah. So yeah.
Happy with that.
I mean, that's a great design, really, ain't it? For that reason, you know.
But recommend when you put them back in is just to put a little bit either rubber grease or some sort of lubricant just on that part of the air filter.
Okay.
It can, as it was coming out, it was a little bit snug.
Okay.
Where it actually pushed into the intake.
So that's worth knowing.
Yeah.
What's that stuff you're using there?
That one is a silicone spray grease.
Oh, okay.
Designed for electronics, but it is good for pretty much anything on those lines. I also use it on the rubbers on the fuel tank for the frame here as well, to help the tank slide on and off.
See, I've not been doing that, so I'm going to get some of that for...
You can use just greases and anything on those lines, but with grease it does tend to collect all the grit and grime.
Yeah, it gets a bit sticky, doesn't it? And so yeah, since I last came a year ago, we've done a few upgrades. We've got the handguards on, we've got the foldable mirrors, which these have been good as well. I like those, and they're only the cheap ones as well. Normally, you know, I don't go too cheap on things, but they're like the 30 quid ones, and they've been absolutely brilliant. We've put the touring screen on as well. That's good, just to give that, you know, wind protection's very minimal, I'll be honest, from the stock one, but it just protects the sat nav that I've got on the bracket there. We're running the tubeless rims as well.
Yes.
So
I didn't notice that you switched.
Yeah, but the benefit now is because I've still got the tube wheels, I've got the Mitas tyres on the other ones.
Yeah.
And when I go to like the ABR festival, or I know I'm going to do, because I'm definitely going to do some TRF stuff on this bike this winter, I can quickly swap them out.
Yeah.
And I've got a nice set of tube wheels with some Meteor tyres on.
Yeah,
so.
Definitely.
But these have been good. You fitted these last year.
Yeah.
The high nows. These are the K60s. They've been a great 50/50 tyre. So I guess the first thing is bleed the brakes.
Don't need to bleed them straight away. The way I tend to work on a brake circuit is I'll make sure the bleed nipples will actually open bike of this age shouldn't really be an issue, but on older bikes, sometimes they've corroded into the body, and then it can be a bit of a nightmare then. So if you've already got the brake system fully stripped down and you can't remove the bleed nipple, and the customer's desperate for the vehicle, then it's off the road for a while. So it's always,
of course.
My personal opinion is, start at the last point you would finish, so just make sure the bleed nipple works. Also, I can leave the bleed nipple open while I just clamp off the front brake master cylinder. I will pull the lever all the way back to the grip and tape it closed, so that when you do disconnect the hose work, it doesn't drain down from the master cylinder all the way through the system. Because as soon as you disconnect it, because the cylinder's a lot higher, gravity will force it to just basically drain through. And if you're not paying much attention, apart from getting brake fluid everywhere, if the entire system pretty much enters out of fluid, trying to get the air out of an ABS system, it's awkward. You spend a lot of time messing around trying to get the air out of the system. So I personally will just put a hose on, crack the bleed nipple off, and then I will tie back the lever to the grip. So it just can't continue like that.
Okay, that's good advice.
Everybody will have their own way of doing these things, but what works for yourself, it's good.
Well, I normally learn by mistakes. Because I'd have just done it the other way, I'd have just took the fluid straight out. But I think sometimes you've got to make mistakes to know where you're going wrong as well.
You have, exactly. If you don't make the mistakes, you don't know where the point of the mistake is. Right, okay, so I just simply leave that open, pull it all the way back, and then I've just got a little tie. Just keep it held. Now the fluid will stop, it simply can't flow anymore now. In fact, now we'll remove that because it will make it easier for reconnecting the new hose. But the ABS sensor runs along the side
of course, we've got that as well. So that literally just unclips there, don't it?
All the way down. The bit clips all the way on it. There's the odd retainer, but simply we'll unclip it all the way down, make sure it's away from the actual brake hose, and then we'll reroute it through the frame to the side so it comes out on the right hand side of the frame.
That's right.
Instead of the left.
So yeah, it comes down on that right hand side at the minute, don't it? So
it basically runs right through from here. So instead of it following down this way, we'll go through around where the airbox intake is.
Yeah, like I say, it's strange how they've kind of come down that side really and kind of looped it over. So that's just a bolt there that's just holding all the cables to the bike, is it? Yeah,
just goes through a bracket just to hold the bracket to the frame, so just simply remove it out of the way. We've got one hose clamp on the bottom yoke here, 5mm headed Allen key. Just need to remove that to get out of the way. And once the rest of the cable, got that one off, the rest of them all the way down are then loose, so we've got nothing to retain it apart from the banjo bolt on the ABS unit. So then we'll start to unclip it off the fork leg. Same again, 5mm headed Allen key on this side.
And I think, do we reuse this bracket?
We'll basically undo that one, flip it onto the other side of the machine, and then use the new cable guide that comes with it onto this clamp on the other side. Right.
Yeah, I was going to take the side bags off. I didn't know if they'd be in the way, but I think you're okay.
Not too bad.
I don't know what your personal take is like. I mean, I've had zero faults with this bike. I've had absolutely no issues. I mean, you're here most days, every day, pretty much working on these things. I mean, have they had any sort of underlying problems or any?
No, to be honest with you, the problems that we have had have been rider related, not bike related. Either they're out riding the bike or they're not quite as capable as the trail they're riding, and they're basically just trying to force their way through it instead of ride through it. And it's just basically the bike has got to the point where it's too much abuse for it. And believe me, it takes a lot of abuse to do any kind of damage to these machines. But the only, I think 2 or 3 bikes I've had have been user error more than anything else.
I mean, they're just so robust. I mean, I've said if I had to pick one bike to ride around the world, it would be this one without a doubt. It's so reliable. They're so strong bikes as well. And this, I've dropped this loads of times, you know, and you probably we can see on the tank down there. There's a nice dent in it, but you know, again, rider error.
But no, apart from that, no, we just don't have problems with them. You service them, you send them out, and they'll come back just for the next service or for some sort of service item in between. Maybe at the point where they decide just crack that off and turn it back up. They just decide they want to upgrade the tyres because they're now realising the bike is so much more capable than they thought it would be. Trying to follow a friend on a little bit more aggressive green lane bike, and they've realised they can't quite keep up. They've not quite got the traction with the standard rubber, but still.
Yeah, I mean that's been the biggest thing, because obviously when these bikes are new, the tyres on the bike are pretty much road tyres, aren't
Yeah,
they? You know,
they are.
there's you know, and that's predominantly what a lot of people like doing. And you know, I'm more of like taking it on the trails, getting it in the mud and stuff like that. I do a lot of winter riding and stuff like that. So it's all about the rubber, really.
It is the point of contact with your surface.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the tyres I'd swapped to go through the mud at the ABR was the Mitas. I think they were the XT pluses.
Yes.
They're a proper 80/20 off-road,
That's
great tyre in the mud. But I took it on the road. Whoa, you do not want to be riding this bike for long on the road with those tyres. It's like riding a proper dirt bike with those on.
Yeah, it's a completely different feel to the machine. It's the confidence you have with the standard rubber. You jump on the more off-road orientated design and you really notice the difference. But basically just disconnected that hose, put the banjo back in for the time being.
Right.
Always, my personal thing is always stick it back in. There's not really anything in this workshop that's going to get in there and cause a problem, but you never know.
Yeah.
So just simply put it back in, nothing can fall in or cause a problem. Undo the top end, the highest point, and now we'll undo the banjo at the caliper side. We will lose some brake fluid now as it drains down. So, like anybody would say, if you're disconnecting a hose now, would be put some cloth around it, some paper towel just to absorb it.
It's because it's quite corrosive stuff, ain't it?
It is. It's not as instantly corrosive as most people think. You know.
Yeah, like a panic.
Yeah, instant panic. I've got to take it off within 0.2 seconds, otherwise my paint's going to come off. It does take a while, and as you can see, just as simple as that. To put something down, because that hose now is just going to drain down because we're disconnected at the top end. So we can lose some from the hose and also a little bit from the caliper as well.
Sure.
Little container probably would have been better if I thought about it, but
It's not that much though, is there?
not, as it stopped
Yeah.
or slowed right down.
I did the same when they take the tank off. You get a little bit of fuel that comes out, and initially I was panicking, thinking, "Oh no, it's not going to stop." And
Yeah.
It filled like a few mil in a little plastic cup.
Yeah,
but
that's all it is. It's just a little amount, but it is when the first time you remove it, you are a bit concerned. Is that it? Make sure it's not got anywhere on the rims. As I say, it's going to take a lot of time before it actually affects paintwork. You are probably realistically days as opposed to minutes.
yeah, sure.
Okay, and that is the hose disconnected. Just going to pull it around the other side of the bike because that's where the hose is going to be pulled out from.
So the ABS one still remains. We don't need to do anything with that for that stage.
Yeah,
Don't have to.
disconnect that once we've got the hose work.
Right.
Pipe work through. That's it. One standard brake hose.
I mean, already just taking that off, I think it makes a nice improvement aesthetically to the bike. It's
Yes, we need to remove this hose clamp, cable clamp to this side as well, because this will actually go through the bottom side of this hook here, so it will sit through there.
okay.
Through this clip, that will simply just go through it, just to hold it in place here.
Right.
And then the hose will then run back to the ABS pump.
Okay, and it looks like they've cut it to a nice length.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it's worth checking, make sure you've got it right before you fit it. Obviously I've just turned it round now, tried it the other way round, obviously that hose is now too short.
of course, yeah.
Check it back the other way, roughly the route of where it should be,
Yeah.
and there's plenty of hose. We can actually put a little extra kink in there, just
Yep.
have it running nice and
Nice and
free
neat.
under that side.
I can't actually remember how much I paid for that now, but I will. Again, I'll pop a link in the description if anybody wants to check it out. It was bought in the UK, and I'm going to guess about £100, but I might be wrong. Everything's £100 on these bikes.
Everything. Yeah, there's nothing much more expensive.
I tell you what, another really a good upgrade on the bike as well has been that rally seat. Do you know, for the off-roading, it's even though it's taller, which some people get a bit afraid of.
Yeah.
It gives you a little bit more leg room,
Yes.
and it also it's a lot thinner, so you don't actually lose that much height. So when
No.
you come to a stop, So it's a little harder, so I wouldn't recommend touring, but certainly if you're going to tackle, you know, a few lanes, a few trails, £99 for the Royal Enfield rally seat, it's a must. It's a must for me.
Because it's narrower,
Yep.
your legs don't bow
That's
out
right.
to start with.
So many people go off seat height all the time,
They do.
but it's not. It's you know, like you say, it's getting that. It's the width of the seat, and you can probably see with this. We've got it down here. Look, the rally seat, the one-piece seat as well. So you can move on the seat a lot more. It's a lot flatter. It is a bit firmer, but that is absolutely brilliant for off-roading. I didn't think it'd be that good. It's better than good.
And the bonus about it is, well, you can actually slide further back as well to get more weight over the rear wheel.
Yep.
If you need that more traction, if you are doing a lot more.
That's right. Because when you've got the split seats, you can start catching your leg and stuff like that.
You're limited. That's why you can move back in the seat. When you actually ride in more serious lanes, you actually want to be able to move your weight backwards and forwards on the bike. So the rally one-piece seat allows you to slide so much further back. So it does help. It makes a dramatic difference. A small 2-inch movement towards the rear can really load up the rear tyre to get so much more traction if you get stuck, and it's really good. So the cable clamp that we removed from the left hand side of the bike, the new hose will simply go through and sit there.
Okay, yeah.
There is a little hook on the bottom which runs through a hole in the frame, so you have to hook it through and then reclamp it back on.
Right, okay, brilliant.
Which is going to be a little bit fiddly, so there is
Yeah, we can see
the
that
hole
in
just
there.
here, literally just tip of my finger. We've got to try and get that hook in, and there it goes. It simply just slides straight in, and once it's in place, make sure you don't get any of the sensor wires caught on that clamp.
But it all fits in nicely.
It does fit nicely, as if it's a factory finish almost.
Yeah. Yeah, nice.
Snug.
Yeah, very nice. Because you never know with these things till you start fitting them, you know, how good they have been, you know, how much thought's gone into it.
Yeah, you don't, it's true, you don't exactly know. So, obviously the kit doesn't come with fitting instructions, so a lot of this is just pretty much trial and error on routing wise. So a lot of people route this particular brake hose in different ways.
Let's
I'm
come
going
round
to
this
run
side.
this one. Obviously you've got the clutch cable here. At the moment I've run, just checking the routing as it would sit like that. Gotta make sure the tank sits nicely. There is a couple of rubber grommets here, so we'll be able to put a cable tie through and tie it to the frame out of the way.
Are they fixed or do they?
They are glued.
Right, so.
I've tried, well, they will move a fraction, but they do seem to be stuck in place. Oh no, there we go. It's just actually rubber. And
so they will slide
yes,
if
they will
need
slide,
be.
so we can put a little bit of grease on and make them slide. So
We've got a couple of holes here as well, which
yeah, so that'd be perfect. We'll just run a cable tie across there to hold it here. At the angle it's running at the moment, it's clearing the clutch cable quite nicely.
Yeah, up through the frame
up through
there.
Here. Just looking at where the fuel pipe will sit on the pump. I think I will actually run this there, and I'll put it underneath this vacuum takeoff, so it can sit lower and come around out the way, so there's less chance of it catching on the fuel hose. So I'm just going to run it back, and then just on the underside instead. So we're now running here.
Yeah, that's nice and free, ain't it?
Nice and free, and to me that looks a lot better angle.
Yeah.
Actually got a little bit more clearance on the frame there.
Nice and tidy.
The next thing will be to loosely fit the banjo on this side.
So what bits have we got in there? See?
So in the kit came with the new hose guide, which will attach to the original clip of the fork leg on one side of the machine. We have 2 banjos, different angles, so we'll look at which way around they fit.
Okay, so they are slightly different.
Yes. One is angled, I'd say about 30 degrees, and one is a straight 90 degree.
Okay, yeah.
So we'll look at those. And then we've got 2 spacers, which are for the plate which holds the fuel tank on, to lift it a fraction at the back end to give clearance on the new pipe work. And then we've got the new copper O-rings used for the banjo bolts. Whenever you take these off, obviously copper does crush down, so
You've got to replace
you've
those.
got to replace them. And it's simply one washer, then would be the banjo, then the next copper washer, and that will screw into the caliper or your ABS.
Okay, all right.
Just need to figure out.
I'm glad you're doing this now, because I'd have completely messed that bit up. I would have definitely. It would have been a 50-50 with me.
It would have been, and it's always the other way around. But just looking at the way the hose runs, just holding it there now, we can see on this end, we need the straight connector.
The straight connector.
On the original pipe work, it would have come out straight and then kinked down. So this particular 30-degree one will be mounted on the caliper side. That when the machine pull it away from the fork leg.
It's amazing that these things don't come with instructions.
I know, I'm surprised.
Why is that? Because I didn't get, believe it or not, I didn't get any instructions for the link pipe, and the link pipe wasn't the problem. It was actually the bump stop, and I didn't know where it fitted to, you know, and it was like just a piece of paper to show me.
I know,
and it was like
take even a photo just to give you a rough idea of the assembled item. But no, a lot of aftermarket parts these days don't come with fitting instructions. It is pretty much a trial and error. So for somebody that's new to doing this kind of thing, they'll get all these bits in a box, and a lot of the time they'll put it back in the box and it'll sit on the garage shelf for 6 months.
Yeah.
So straight connector this time. We'll put it in loosely. Obviously, the majority is aftermarket brake pipes, no matter whatever manufacturer it is. They're not a one-piece unit, hose to banjo. They are loose, so it allows for more adjustment.
Okay, yeah.
So we'll just simply screw it up while there's still some movement on this section, so we can lift it a fraction. We'll just pull it up just so it's touching, so keep going until we reach the end of the thread. We won't really tighten anything up until the whole thing's assembled. That's there. We'll just simply nip that down as well, just with finger tight. That's all we're going to be doing at the moment. That's finger tight. So that will be pretty much its fitted point.
Yeah.
And you can see now, while them spacers are here,
Yeah.
it does bring that up a fraction. So just resting your finger across it, you can feel like it's slightly higher than these 2 points.
Yeah.
So it just need a little bit.
Yeah. And once we've got that plate on there as well, it'll just keep everything nice and safe in there, and nothing's going to get snagged, is it? And
Exactly with the bite now. So that's where that's going to sit.
I was going to chop this off yesterday, and I thought, no, we'll come get this done first.
I'm not sure how rigid they're going to be with it completely removed. It'd be interesting to see how much flex they will have on them. I mean, the mountings are obviously...
Yeah, there is. I mean, that was, I did kind of consider that before decided to go ahead with this. And I think that they're pretty solid, to be fair.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're going to get a lot of movement. I'm surprised there's not aftermarket ones. I mean, I've not had a proper look, but...
I can't imagine it's going to be long if there isn't at the moment, especially with people developing this, the single-sided brake hose kit now. So the new bracket itself, as just discovered, the back section is completely separate. So obviously you can put the hose through. With it being an aluminium body.
Sure.
If you do forget to put the hose through first, so we'll simply sit in that position here.
Okay.
Give or take. So we're going to put the old clamp around this side, which we removed from the other side of the bike. Simply just flip it over and put it that way around.
Okay, yeah.
So it all lines up.
Yeah, nice.
And make sure also you put it on the right way around, so the nut is on the inside of the fork leg, not on the outside.
Right, okay. Do you want me to hold that bit?
If you can just hold the clamp in place for a second, yes. That's... Old bolt, old clamp.
See, this is where I would normally get Amy to come in and help out, but she's just disappeared in the new showroom.
She's escaping it all.
Making use of that new furniture you've had delivered.
Yeah. I don't think it's just quite enough. I have to try and find another bolt to go through that instead.
Right. So yeah, there's we've found a flaw in the product.
The only one at the moment. It's not the product itself, unfortunately, it's just the length of the standard bolt just isn't quite enough. We need probably about another 5mm.
Okay. Well, hopefully you've got one in your drawer a bit.
Just going to measure what size this one is to make it easier. This one is... Oh no, sorry, this one is... It's about 18mm, so I think it probably should measure out at 15. Because they normally over measure them. So we probably want one 20 to 25mm long. Is 25mm.
Okay.
Perfect.
Just need that little bit more.
It is probably, you could probably force it, but you are going to be having to force it in, and when if you're doing this on your own, or even with an assistant, as dedicated to you today.
We'll find her in a
the
bit.
Extra pair of hands can sometimes get in the way. And we'll try that again. So. Started. There we go.
There we go.
That's all it needed.
That is exactly it, isn't it? It's
yeah. With this section removed, it will be absolutely perfect. At the moment, it is on the bottom edge, the standard mudguard. As you can see by me just moving it, you can see the thing is flexing.
yeah, it's just catching that.
I mean, we can move this up a fraction to at least this upper part, so it's out of the way for the time being. But that was the original factory position on the other side, so it is just the lug. For the old,
we can just snap that off.
We can just cut it off.
We'll just cut it off because inevitably.
Yeah, well, for the time being, then we're just going to be a little bit crude with a pair of side cuts.
There we go.
And just remove that. It's out of the way.
It looks brutal.
But it does its job.
I think my next video might be a bit more brutal.
So at that point, the hose itself is routed where it should be. Nothing's fully tight yet. As you can see, well, the rest of the hose now sits. Now everything's in place. Obviously, this upper one here, obviously, is going to move around at the moment to retain it with everybody's favourite tool, the cable tie. So we're going to use a couple of cable ties. We're going to run one probably around the frame here, just loosely so it can move around. And this one here, we're going to do a little bit tight to the frame without having this rubber on here.
Yep.
And there is a second rubber here, which just happens to sit lovely across this little wiring loom bracket, so it can just simply sit there nicely out of the way.
Right, so
and we'll just run a cable tie, probably just loosely around there too.
Yeah, it's sort of like they have thought it through well, ain't they?
Yeah, they've obviously done a few fitment and see where they could put extra rubbers on for any kind of rubbing or issues.
And what about the ABS?
Yes, we're going to disconnect that in a second, so we need to basically just pull out these two bolts, which will then allow us to move the cover forward, so we can get to the ABS sensor which sits behind it, so we can pull it out, and then we'll be routing it back through from the other side.
I mean, anybody that's been following the channel would know that I did some adjustments with the front mud guard or the front fender here, and we lifted it up by 20mm with some spacers, which kind of worked if you're just doing the trails. But the one thing I did find is, again, when I took the bike to the ABR Fest and we started getting into sort of like a bit more enduro style riding, because we raised this up, which was a nice clearance from the rally tyres, this started to hit the mud guard. And
exactly, when you're going through the full suspension travel. Yeah,
exactly. And that's the kind of one of the reasons why we want to kind of do this mod, really, just to kind of eliminate all that. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it caused me a problems. It was more annoyance because every time you kind of went down,
you're hearing a clunk.
You know, you're hearing this bashing on this. So yeah, I think that'll be a.
First time it happens, you're wondering what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, that's super handy there, ain't it?
Yeah,
really.
It will hopefully just sit quite nicely. I might end up running two and do a figure of 8 across it actually. So it's still got some flex on the rubber. It's not direct contact on the framework. It's still nice and clear everywhere else. So I think at that design is probably about the best option.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, these little bits can be quite fiddly, and this is where the patience come in.
And we're quite early in the week, so I've got some patience left. And there it is.
There we go, look. People were like, you made that look so easy. There were comments that were like, how the hell did you get that through there?
On the inside, I'm still screaming at it though. You will fit. And we're not going to do that particularly tight. It's just going to sit there.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah, nice.
They look like they are 6mm headed Allen heads. That particular point looks like 10mm, so we'll tighten these down first.
And will we need to top the? Obviously, we need to top the fluid up.
Yes, because we will flush the system all the way through. Obviously, from the master cylinder to the ABS system itself, there's no air in it at the moment. We've disconnected it after the ABS pump, so all we've got is air from the outlet side of the ABS pump to the caliper. So we will have to remove the master cylinder top, start to bleed the system up, and obviously it's going to need fluid in the top as well as to replace what we've lost from removal and also from bleeding.
It's just a case of nipping that up and...
As I describe it for most of them, it's a nip and a bit.
Yeah.
With those. There's 11mm, these 10s. nip a bit. Nice and snug. Hose is still nice. So back down to the caliper end and do exactly the same thing. The angle of this pipe work, looking at it as it sits at the moment, the original one was exactly the same though. There's not a lot of clearance between that and the bleed nipple.
Right.
So if you tighten it up dead in line like that, you're really going to struggle to get the bleed pipe on to be able to do anything. And also if you go directly in line, it does actually catch this original bracket here. So we're just going to have it coming out just a little bit, just so we can actually get the hose on easy from behind. It's not enough to cause any issues, so obviously that would be the point where anything was going to brush past the bike anyway, so you can't really snag anything. So we're just going to have it out of fraction and tight. Once that one's on, same here on this other connection.
Perfect.
Done. Not a bad design at all.
It's
a bit large.
Yeah, I was going to say they could have gone a little bit smaller on that.
They could have done that. I mean,
You know,
there is a possibility you could run it the other way round. You could actually have this facing the other way,
Yeah.
but then it would obviously stick out a lot further.
Yeah, it'd be coming out on this side.
Yeah, so something half the diameter, simply like that would have been enough.
Yeah, yeah.
And it would have probably looked, with this on, it would have looked better. With it removed at a later date, it might be okay. It would look at the part still, but why it's still got this bottom one on.
But I mean, again, that's something, you know, is easily fixable, ain't it? Really.
Absolutely. Right. While we're here now, we're going to disconnect this particular part of the fork leg protector so we can get to the ABS wiring, so we can pull the connector off to reroute it through the frame.
Is that a 6mm?
5mm, two 5mm header bolts, both shouldered, so you can't over tighten them to cause any problems to the plastic. And there is the ABS pickup. Same thing again, it's just another 5mm headed Allen key bolt. Enfield do like keeping things nice and simple. This is usually quite tight.
Yeah. So yeah, when you hear the crack, don't worry.
No, don't panic, unless it's your wrist. You do find with a lot of Enfield bolts, they do like to put a bit of thread lock and everything.
Yeah. Which is a good thing.
It is.
Maybe not the red.
It's a little bit overkill for the bike personally, but we never lose bolts on Enfields. You just have more of a problem removing them when they've been in for a while.
Yeah, of course. And would you have to put like thread back on that, or would that'd be okay because there's still a little bit on it?
My personal opinion is I don't reuse any thread lock on them at all. Certain bolts we do, but things like sensor wiring, I can't see why they'd need to thread lock that particular thing.
Because it's not a moving part as such, is it?
It's not under stress. All it's doing is retaining a sensor which weighs grams.
Yep. You're not going to get a lot of vibration through it. Yeah.
So that's that. What we're going to do now is pull this back through to the other side of the bike and reroute it through the frame to come out the same side as the new brake hose.
Okay. So we don't need to disconnect that at the other end.
All we're going to do is come around this side of the bike. There's some bags in the way which make it a little bit more interesting. You'll be able to work through the holes. So all we're going to do is pull the sensor up. They are quite robust sensors, so you're not going to be too careful with them, but try not to get trapped in anything. It will be covered in mud.
Yep.
Everybody's is.
I'm surprised how clean the bike is, considering.
I have seen a few a little bit worse than this, but there's also been cleaner too. So what we're going to do is just simply pull a little bit of wiring back. We've still got this cable clamp removed out of the way, so where the original hose work was. You can see the ABS pipe wiring is here, so we're just going to run it through the air intake gap, which is the intake for the airbox, which is why you don't really get too much dirt in there because it's so high up on the frame. And we're just going to reach through on the other side of the bike. We've just been working, and just simply pull it out and have it on that side of the bike.
There we go. So
that's
where it's just come through, right next to where the tank bungs are.
I'm going to remove these original clips off for the time being, just to get it through.
Just to thread it through.
Just to thread it to make it easier. If you are removing these on bikes that are a couple of years old, they do get a little bit brittle, so be a little bit gingerly taking them off.
And just replace them.
And replace them as need be, but just basically.
Can't imagine they're going to be expensive, are they?
No, I think they work out about 40 pence a piece or something. Although these are so tight still because the bike is so new, you don't want to let go of them. It's come through right at the right point where the new hose is. So we're going to leave a little bit of slack. We'll probably run it through. I'll take this back out again in a second. Run it back through there. It's come down here.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, just keeps everything snug. I think if everybody just takes the time, then they're very capable of doing it themselves.
Absolutely. It's nothing you need any special tools or special skills for. A lot of it is very simple stuff to do.
Well, a lot of it is being shown, ain't it? And that's the purpose of the video today.
Once you've seen how to do it, then pretty much most people should be able to do this. If they've got some mechanical knowledge and they're relatively competent, majority of these bikes are workable to do anything on.
Yeah. And do you know what? You can buy tools so much cheaper now. Yeah. It's like, you know, you can buy a whole chest. I mean, I know you've got Snap on there, which is like, you know, expensive stuff, but, you know, for a man that's using it day in, day out, you want the best, obviously.
Yeah.
For somebody like myself, you know, I've seen like tool chests for like 450 quid, full of tools, you know, and it's absolutely perfect for what I'm doing.
Yeah, there are certain high street stores out there that do tooling, and they also offer a lifetime warranty on it.
Wow.
Actually, I've replaced some of mine with theirs because it's tools that I get through quite readily through certain jobs, and you don't have to wait for replacement. You can literally walk into the shop, show them it's broken, they just change it there and then.
Really, that's great, and that's good customer service.
So while they're out, actually, because it's running into an aluminium leg, I'm going to put a little bit of copper grease on there just to stop any corrosion issues in future.
Okay. Again, another tip, because I've had these off a few times, you know, it's I've not done that.
No,
and
because you've had them off a few times, you've not had the issue yet, whereas a bike that wouldn't have had them removed, that's been through a lot of dirt and grime, the chemical reaction between the two metals is not great. Doesn't take much, just a tiny little bit.
Just a tiny bit on the thread there.
Put these back on now in a few places, just to get it to sit nice. Make sure everything else looks snug. It's very nicely, not any issues. I'm going to put another one at its top edge here, so it's just not sat against the bottom yoke. You can have one more clip there, and I think that's pretty much going to be all the clips sorted. We've still got some free plate at the top end, which is going through the frame, so nothing's going to be pulled open on full lock. Okay, right, we're just going to assemble a little bit. We'll get this cover plate put back on, we don't need to be at this area anymore, and then we'll look at bleeding the system. We'll leave the tank off while we bleed it. If there's a little bit less paint work available for the people that are scared of brake fluid and paint, you might as well bleed it up while it's all off, and also then you can check your hoses easily for if it does seep at all, which I'll show you further down the line. So that was it. See where it sits. You can see at the moment there's a little bit of tension on the hose here, which is what those spaces are for, just to lift it up. So
okay, right, yeah, and they came in.
They came with the kit, yeah.
Right. So yeah, remember guys that you need these.
Yeah, they're not just spares.
Yeah. And there's always bits left over when I'm doing stuff.
It happens to all of us. Yeah. Front to back to there is obviously cabling that runs.
And are they the original bolts as well?
Yeah, original bolts. Yep. They are more than long enough to do that. You can see there's at least a bit in there, at least a 5mm of thread, which is realistically all you need to actually for a bolt to be retained. If you look at a nut, obviously nuts are only about 5mm deep, so as long as it goes through, ideally a thread should show the other side of it, but it's not a structural component as such, it is just a plate to help mounting of the fuel tank bracket.
Look who's here, everybody. It's Amy B's come to join us, and I think she was just going to say to us, Craig, I bet you two boys would love a cup of tea.
I'm sure that's what she was going to say.
I don't know if there's any left, because we've just been drinking it for like while you were in there. I can go and check.
How's it going in there?
Yeah, we've got through the coffee. Yeah. Busy.
You'll be up all night. So other modifications I've thought about doing to this bike as well is upgrading the foot pegs as well. These are not bad, but I must admit, recently riding some other dirt bikes, you realise that some others have got some serious grip and a bit more kind of like width to them. So I think I'm going to start upgrading the pegs, and also perhaps a foldable gear lever as well. I mean, the good thing is, Craig, these bikes have been out a year now or just over, and you know, you can buy some nice little trick bits for them. You know.
Yeah, as with the majority of the Enfield range now, there's so many companies out there making accessories and stuff. Whatever you're looking for, you will find it. It's not a case of, oh, I wonder whether somebody has. It's
now there's choice.
Yeah, how many people have done it and what colour do I want it
Well, the hardest thing, like I was researching some foot pegs the other day, and I was thinking there's so many different types now. It's like, what do you go for? You know, because you get ones that kind of move with your feet and things like that. And
different angles, different drops. You know, it's a lot of them are to make the bike to suit the particular rider. It's not just direct replacement. There's so many modifications, slight rises for the bars to make that feel more comfortable. The rally seat, like you fit to the standard one, which allows you to move backwards and forwards. But points of contact of the machine, levers, adjustable ones. We've seen a few sets of those. Not seen anybody fit any aftermarket pegs as yet, but yeah, they aren't the grippiest. So it would need a little bit of something. Same thing again. Taking the top off, just put some roll tissue cloth around it, because no matter how careful you are, I guarantee you will get a drop of fluid come out. So you'll just have a cover, and then there is another plate which sits on the top of that, and then you've actually got the rubber diaphragm.
Right, okay.
So and as you can see, just to take the rubber diaphragm off, it's covered in brake fluid, so if you're not too cautious, you can drip it on the machine.
So yeah, just keep that out of the way then. But yeah, I've not taken that apart yet. And brake fluid changes, I mean,
every 3 years in the book.
Right.
I personally would recommend every 2 years, regardless of how many miles you do realistically, unless you're doing 50,000 miles a year, which isn't unheard of on certain bikes.
What's the advantage of changing the brake fluid then? Because people probably don't change it forever, do they?
They don't, no. I've had bikes come in that's probably 10 years old and the fluid cap has never been removed, and you take it off and it's almost as dark as your engine oil is. With time, happens? It does absorb water.
Okay.
And as it absorbs water, it's not as, well, basically it's just not as good. You don't get the feel. You don't get the feedback from the lever. You can, in theory, if there's enough water in the fluid, water boils. Yeah. You know, everybody knows it boils at 100 degrees. You start having water in a braking system when you're braking extremely hard, and you know if you accidentally touch a hot disc, it's hot. So you imagine water in that same line, that starts to evaporate off, and all of a sudden you've got, you know, a gap where fluid should be, and you pull your lever and all of a sudden the lever's gone spongy, and your brakes are just dropping off dramatically. So to change it regularly for how long it actually takes.
And it's not a big job again.
It's not a big
job.
job.
A lot of people can do it themselves, and
very easily. We only took off this banjo, but the side of this one and this one, you can see where the brake fluid has actually run across, and the blue roll is actually wet. So what we will do when I finish and before I put the tank back on, I will get a hose and spray all this down just to wash it through. Just to get it out of the system. And brake fluid wise, just simple fluid. There's nothing special. You can get .5.
I was going to say all the different dots, and it all gets a bit confusing.
It does. Dot 4 is what you're going to get off the shelf for most things, unless you are a GP rider. You don't need anything better than that. You're going to struggle to have any problems with the standard stuff.
Hey, look at this for service.
Louis, that and there. That is over full at the moment. Wouldn't normally leave it at that high, but obviously we're going to be draining a lot out as we flush the system through. Just to pump it slowly. Certain master cylinders, if you pump them quickly, you'll get a spray of brake fluid come straight up. On this particular setup, there is a little plastic cover over the top of the inlet. You can see that little white disc in here, dead centre, with 5 holes in it. That covers the inlet for the fluid. What would normally happen if you squeeze it too hard, you get a little bit of fluid squirt back up. It doesn't happen on this bike because that shield stops it coming back up at force.
And obviously we can't run it right the way down, because then you'll just suck air in again.
What I'm going to do at this point is, because I've run it to about halfway on the sight glass, which you can't see too well from that side, I'm just going to hold the lever down, and what I'm going to do is basically just close the bleed nipple
Yep. So you can top it back up again.
And I can top it back up without a risk of any air entering the system. So it's got to that level there. You can see it's quite low from what it was.
Yeah. And we've got the sight glass on the other side.
And now it's flew back in, let the lead back out. And then do the same thing again. Simply undo the bleed nipple. Now, as you can see, as I press the lever, I'm pressing it down to the grip.
And I notice you just leave your spanner hanging on there, which I don't. I take the spanner off and then I've got to try and fumble to get it back on again.
Exactly. Certain calipers you can do that on quite easily. It will sit there. Others it does fall off.
Yeah.
You can use the ring end. I find sometimes it gets stuck behind things, so I tend to use the open end, especially on a new bike. A lot of time you can simply just rest it down and actually use the hose to keep it in place. It's just a little bit of tension on it.
A couple of air bubbles.
Yes, as it comes down and bleeding it, you'll see more air bubbles come through. So just simply keep pumping until there is no air in that pipe at all as it comes out. So I'm just going to do this a few times. Make sure there's no fluid at all to start with. So the fluid level, as it sits at the moment, you can actually see this line here across there. If it's turned at the right angle, it's actually level with the fluid. That is ideally the max fill point on a new master cylinder with new discs and new pads. That would be the point you would go no further. As we were on that earlier, if the pads are slightly more warm when you come to change them and you're pushing the pistons back, if you're forcing the fluid back up, there's no room for it to go, so it will seep out. So for a bike that's done next to no mileage compared to a lot of bikes, happy enough just to leave it like that and put the top back on.
Right.
Goes in first. Just the cover. If you still have the cloth around it, just make sure it's not going to get caught as you put it back in. So just run your fingers around it. Move it slightly now, so this blue roll out the way a little bit. And it's just down, feel the resistance, and a fraction of a turn. Sits lovely.
Yeah, it's a nice brake cable delete.
Do a little bit of service work while we're here. The same silicone spray grease. There's our fuse box. Just like this stuff, it literally just lather it, it runs down.
Okay. See, I'd be afraid to do that. I think if I did that, it wouldn't. The bike wouldn't start.
It wouldn't start now. The good thing about this, I mean, that's what it's designed for. It's designed to lubricate, expel water, stop corrosion on electrical contacts. It's just been one of the best things we ever found. We've tried other brands, and to be honest with you, this has been the best.
Yeah. And that just shows you how sort of generous you've been with it. Like I say, I'd probably wouldn't even do that. I'd be like, oh, I'd be worried to do that. So,
but no, absolutely lather it. Cover everything. Every time there's a connection that you have off on one of these bikes, just give it a spray. It can't do any harm. All it can do is good. And you've got a tin. This one, even in the workshop, will probably last 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
So for somebody to buy one,
that'd last me 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I think the working date is about 2 or 3 years as well on them.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, as we did earlier, both sides when we reassemble, it just allows everything to glide back on. It doesn't dry out. It doesn't stay really sticky. So it can't attract anything.
Because I did notice when I was putting the tank on, it was getting a bit, like you say, there was no smoothness to putting them back on the bungs there. It was, and that's sort of clearly what it needed.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I say, in my next video, then what we're going to do, we're going to get the grinder and remove this section here, and maybe fit a few more bits to the bike as well. So you know, we're like I said, the bike's here for its service as well, its annual service, and this is what Craig's doing, lubing everything up. And see, I needed to do that as well, because the hardest thing was getting those breather pipes back on.
Breathers, yeah, they are difficult, especially when you've never taken them off from factory. They are really snug at getting them off. So a little bit of silicone, ideally spray them on this section, not into the pipe work.
Yep.
You don't want it going through, but you just put it on here, it pushes it up out the way where it doesn't need.
Yep.
The easiest thing to do is the two breathers.
Yeah. See, I
First.
did them last.
Yeah. You can do them last. I mean, there is just a.
But there's less movement on them, I think, ain't
Yeah,
there? There's less.
There is. So I tend to get the big one on first.
So there's two different sizes, ain't there? And you can feel that with your fingers, diameter-wise.
You can't get them wrong. Obviously, you can get the large one on the smaller outlet, but if you try and do it the other way around, you've got no chance. So I'll put the big one on first. Then I'll reach for the fuel pump connector here and connect that one straight up, which is, again, a little bit fiddly. But it can only go on one way.
Yeah.
And you listen for the click.
That's the click.
Before you put it down and forget, the other connector here,
which
is for the fuel sender.
I forgot that before.
Yeah.
Because you kind of concentrate on that side, don't you? And then there is one this side as well.
Reach back through.
And that's the fuel sender, you say?
That's the fuel sender this side. Click again, so you've got the fuel pump connector this side and the fuel sender unit that side. Once you've got those two on, the fuel pipe is easy enough. Same thing again, listen for the click. It's on. Give that just a very gentle tug. Make sure you pull it in the direction you pull it off, not sideways. Allow the tank to drop down a little bit, and that last breather, which sits behind the other one, which is all done by feel rather than anything else. Give it a wiggle.
But I think once you've done it once or twice, it's like, it will come a bit more. The first time you do it, you'll have a nightmare. You'll think, oh, this will never go back on. And then, like I said, I've took the tank off a couple of three times now. And, I always say, if I can do it, you can do it. And you say major service at 6,000 miles?
Yes, it is. So pretty much dismantle as much as we've done. Tank off, air filter out the box, remove the throttle body to get to the valve clearances. Obviously the valves on these are shims, not a conventional old style adjuster like anything I've used on every other brand, every other model that they've got on every other engine. This one is shimmed. We've done a couple. They have been ever so slightly out of spec, nothing major, but they are out a little bit. So we're expecting pretty much every bike to need doing.
Right. What have you got there?
Bin shop pen.
Okay.
I'm going to need the black adventure passenger seat, which provides enhanced comfort for the adventure pillion. I'm an adventure pillion.
Well, yeah, you do fit into that category.
It's long-term comfort improvement.
Yeah, we have been looking at them. I think they're quite. Are they? What's the price on those?
There's not a price. It's not about price. It's about comfort.
You can't put a price on comfort.
Yes.
Well, actually, Amy's got a birthday coming up in a couple of weeks' time, so that would make the perfect birthday present.
So you buy her a part for your bike
Well,
for her birthday.
it's a part apparently I'd never. Well, I wouldn't be sitting on it. It'd be for you, and that's how thoughtful I am. Got the bike up a bit higher. So where would you start? What's the
First thing will be I'm just going to have a quick look across the bike, make sure there's no obvious signs of any weepage, anything missing, loose, not bang bent. Usual sort of bikes that adventure style bikes get. Make sure nothing is out of line from where it should be or anything worrying before I start. Now everything looks nice and straight. Engine's nice and dry as these always are. We've not had any issues with any kind of seepages on any gasket, unlike some of the very early 411s that used to seep a little bit of oil out. Two head bolts on the other side had two copper O-rings on. They fixed that quite quickly in the factory. They put I think it was 1.5 mil thick copper washer on instead of the 0.5 mil one, which cured it. There was no further issues on that. But this particular lump is proving to be pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, I can't fault it. It's been a stonking engine really for a 450.
So right, we're just going to start taking off the protection bit. So the two 5 mil header bolts underneath.
This is where all the mud drops out.
This is where we see how well you've cleaned it.
Well, there's
Sounds a bit gritty.
Yeah, I don't know if they can hear that. There's a bit of grinding going off there, but.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, I know I did a good job. I did take that off. I thought I knew I was coming here.
It looks a bit too clean for a bike that's been used off road. Got the two 17 mil headed drain bungs here. The front and the rear. The rear one has a lot more oil behind it, so the front has got a little bit less pressure, so it doesn't come out as much. But on a coolish engine, it shouldn't spray out too far. On a really hot engine, when you remove this particular bung, the oil can travel quite a distance. It is on quite a bit of pressure, so it does literally come out a good foot. But this engine now being stood around,
Yeah,
it's lovely and cool.
Yeah. So, is it worth warming the engine up for a bit, or is it not necessary? But what about in the winter time?
Winter, definitely.
Yeah.
I would definitely have it warm. I mean, it's not cold to touch by no
No,
means.
and it's probably one of the hottest days in there.
Exactly.
We're about 30 degrees today.
Yeah,
in
we're
there.
up around 30
We've even
degrees.
got the fan on. Look, to keep us cool.
Yeah. So the usual blue roll. Yeah, just crack those two off.
What size socket's that?
17 mil.
17 mil.
So 17 mil, as we can see, simple. Ideally, a 6-sided one, so there's no chance of rounding off the edges.
And the important drain bowl.
Yeah, everybody's got their own. I like using old 25-litre tubs, because I can make them suit most bikes. So the front bung, as we can see, remove that. Not a lot of oil, a lot of pressure. Now I'm going to remove the one towards the centre stand at the back and just kind of show you the difference between the two, even though the front one's been draining a little bit.
Yeah.
You can see the difference. So on a really hot engine, you will have to hold your drainer quite considerably further out, because it will go everywhere.
I mean, look at the colour of that. It's treacle.
It's actually a fair condition. Maybe take it and stick out and run it between our fingers a little bit. It's actually not bad. It does get dark, but that's not as bad as I expected on certain bikes that have been used quite heavily, especially off-road.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done a lot of miles, but a lot of the miles I've done has been quite heavy duty, if you say, on the lanes and the trails and the off-roading, and
so the engine is labouring a bit more under a lot more load.
And I love the smell of it.
Yeah.
They should bottle it as aftershave.
I think it'd only attract the same sex, unfortunately. Okay, then we've got the two strainers. Little sort of the magnetic pickup here, which always picks up the smallest little bits of probably more clutch component than anything else, because obviously with times clutch wear and all the bits, we'll get into there and
obviously
on that.
The off-roading as well, I guess you're going to put a bit more wear and tear on it.
You definitely are. And the back one, just do all that. Exactly the same. The strainer itself is pretty clean. You might find on the odd occasion here what looks like a bit of gasket material. It's not necessarily anything along them lines. Sometimes it can be where you've topped the oil yourself and something's actually gone into the neck. These are one of the finest filters before it reaches the oil filter, so it will pick up on that before it goes any further. So I'll leave them draining while I go around the rest of the bike.
And why would we have 2 drain bolts? What would be the purpose of that?
It is probably the way the oil system works, so that the oil is not sloshing completely from one side to the other. There is probably an oil gallery in between the two, so it allows one to feed into the other. So it's not got a huge sump like that. Yep. Where, as we can see, a slight movement, the oil is sloshing quite a lot. There will be a physical partition between the two, so it stops it sloshing around so much. So in theory, you could almost drop the bike onto one side with the engine running, and all the oil is not going to come away from the oil pickup and cause oil starvation before the bike has a chance to cut out the fuel system. So it's just like on your enduro bikes, especially your 4-stroke, you'll find quite a few of those, especially KTM. They have 3. Right. There's a couple of drain bungs at the back and also one at the front, and it tends to be the more adventure spec the bike's set up for, the more filters and strainers you have in different positions. Okay. Right, we've got the GT85. If you've got a bike, you should have at least 1 tin of this, regardless what it is.
I think I have got a tin of this.
Little light spray, just on the surface of the chain. Nothing too major, it's going to cause any problems washing anything off.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too bad with chain maintenance.
No, it looks quite nice. We do see a few that could be better maintained. A little bit of light spray, get a chain brush, and get the surface.
So you wouldn't necessarily degrease it all down then to re-grease it?
Degrease it, no. I don't like degreasers. I mean, a lot of these chains are O-ring or X-ring chains, so you've got a rubber seal in between. Degreasers, depends how aggressive they are, can affect rubbers, so I wouldn't use anything like that. That's why I use just WD-40 or GT85, just something to soften the grease off a fraction. So we can just go across it with a brush, just to get the big chunks of it off. A cloth, keep your fingers well away from the chain. Yep. Do it in this section and rotate the wheel backwards so the chain is going away from the sprocket, so you don't drag your fingers in and lose one.
Well, funny you should say that, because when I've been out to India and we've been to the Royal Enfield dealerships, they actually fire the bike up, put it into gear, and then you know, and you're kind of thinking, you know, one day it's going to happen.
I think out there a lot of it is more speed than anything else. It has to be done quite quick, and I suppose one person does it, so it becomes second nature.
Well, it's that thing called health and safety that in certain countries it's not been invented yet.
It hasn't. No.
I was just going to say, is that too tight or is that?
I'll say it's not far off. Check it in a few places.
Because I was really like, I know there's actually a measuring gauge in the toolkit under the seat that I've not brought with me. It's in the other seat, but yeah, there is a little, you know, if nobody's been in the little toolkit you get under the seat, there is a little gauge that you can measure the chain size, and I did use it. So
yeah, as it says on the swing arm here, free play, 36 to 40 mil.
Right.
From, if you look, it's difficult to see, but you can see it's actually bowed at the top and bowed at the bottom.
Right.
So they mean from the longest position, so I always go between a guide and here as close to the middle, from up to bottom, with a reasonable amount of force. So if I kind of hold that here and bring that down, realistically that's about 25 mil. So it would be slightly tight, slightly. Or the other way I take it is basically put a finger underneath it and push up lightly, so it's literally bending your finger. I would like to basically just get my finger between the chain and that guide.
Right.
So to get it up there, I have to really force it hard. So it's a fraction tight, but I wouldn't say it's to the point where it causes any issues to the machine. Well, I check it in a few places, that's why I always do it, pushing them upwards. Well, that chain is perfect all the way around, so there's no tight section at all.
Because the issue I had was really the alignment of loosening everything off and then pushing the wheel up.
Yeah. And
tightening it up slightly so it didn't drop back, and then doing the adjustments.
Yeah.
But it took me about 10 goes.
But you got there.
But yeah, it's just perseverance and again learning how to do it, because my plan is to keep swapping the wheels out depending on where I'm riding and what I'm doing. You know, so it's good to kind of like learn yourself really.
Quick question: have you got a replacement sprocket on your other wheels, or do you take this sprocket off and fit it on your other wheels?
I've got a replacement sprocket now. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Well, is that one wrong?
Personal preference.
Right.
On my enduro bike, I reuse the same sprocket per chain.
Yep.
So I will take this assembly off the road wheel that I'm using and put that on my replacement, because that chain is worn.
Is paired to it.
It's paired.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with it on a good quality sprocket that's got no wear on it.
Yeah.
But if you start to get one where the chain's got a bit of slack in it and then you swap
well, I did consider that, and I thought with it being fairly new with low miles and you know, two new sprockets and the chain.
It's not a chance to wear. I mean, you hold the tension on the chain, you try and pull the chain off the sprocket, there's no movement on those teeth, which is a normal guide for wear. So if I'd let the chain, I'd expect to see that would be a slightly worn chain if I was already intentional, but yours, a bit of tension, there's no wear on that whatsoever.
Yeah.
So your maintenance is absolutely perfect. What I will do though, I will slacken that chain off and put it back to the exact setting. So
this is where I struggled to get it, and I don't think I've got it right.
Yeah.
Is it out by a lot?
It's out a little bit.
Yeah.
Mainly that side is too far back, so at the moment, in theory, your wheel's a bit like that.
Yeah.
But it is minute. So I will show you how I adjust them. Loosening, you don't have to worry about a torque wrench. So all we're going to do is loosen that nut, make sure that end's not spinning. If it does, the T-bar we're using for adjusters, we can just simply thread through there and spin it back just to stop that happening while you try not to do it. So we've loosened it a bit. At the moment, as you can see, it's all nice and loose. The markings on the adjusters, on this side, if you look, it's showing, just about showing number 5. If we go around the other side, these are pretty good settings from the factory actually. Some bikes are out a little bit, but everyone we've checked have been pretty good. But on this side, you can see we're 5, 6, and probably halfway to number 7, so this side is a bit over adjusted. So all we're going to do is basically back that off a little bit so it's loose, push the wheel without dropping my tools away before. At the moment we are just showing probably number 6, it's just starting to show.
Yep.
So I'm just going to go back around the other side and see whether it's affected the adjustment much, which it doesn't normally that side. No, not a great deal at all. So what I'll do then is just get that quarter of a turn. That's all it's taken pretty much to get that to the point where I'd say that is spot on. So finger to chain guide. So that is what we want. So looking at that now, probably say it's about on number 7.
Yeah.
So we're going to slacken the other side off a little bit more to bring that square. Six. That's probably about right. Obviously you can't see the markings too well on this side. You can use this little dimple here.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to go off.
So it's just before 4.
Right.
So on this side, it's a little bit out because marking is a little bit off on something, but it is a little bit. But as near as that will be good enough for most people. To tighten it all back up so the thing doesn't move, because as you've discovered yourself, as soon as you tighten it up, what tends to happen is the wheel moves.
Yep.
Because you torque it down, you pull the whole thing backwards, and they end up like that.
Yeah.
So
I was getting into a bit of a fluff with it, I'll be honest.
get yourself a cloth, the same one you've cleaned your chain with, roll it up, stick it over your chain, roll your wheel backwards. The chain is now absolutely piano tight, and it's basically pulled that wheel as far forward as it physically can. So you leave that in there. I'm only going to nip that down at the moment because I'm not going to torque wrench out, and just simply do that, tighten it back down, and that wheel cannot move backwards.
Right.
It's physically been pushed so hard against the stops it can't go anywhere. If you use a cloth, obviously you can't damage anything. All it's doing is basically getting jammed in there.
Yeah, there's no point in chucking your screwdriver in there. Or...
I have seen people use screwdrivers and spanners and all sorts, but just a cloth rolled up, even tissue at a mush blue roll, it does tend to get stuck in there. But keep it in there, roll it back off, and you'll probably find that has actually now look at the difference, because we used a cloth to pull the wheel all the way back. We're now far too loose.
Right.
Absolutely, to the point it's hanging, you could actually almost take it off the sprockets. So it's just a difference that cloth technique makes. And you can also pretty much do it for adjustments as well, just don't do it as hard. Just simply roll it in there, get some tension on it, and then just wind it back a little bit. It doesn't take much. You're normally looking at a quarter of a turn at a time for something like that. I'll just do the same the other side. So we are just before the 4 mark, coming up to 7. Just coming up to 4 on that mark, and just about seeing line number 7 showing. So the same thing again. Do this as many times it takes to get the adjustment right. So just nip it down.
And also working at this height is, you know, I was on my knees as well, which wasn't helping.
No.
It's
not ideal working on your knees at this height.
Because I'm left to right and...
Yeah, needs to tighten up a little bit more, because obviously we're well past that 38mm of adjustment. So it can take 3 or 4 times to get it absolutely spot on. But it's
if you think you're going to do it first time, then you're going to get lucky, aren't you? So, you know, it's just little tweaks.
Yeah, all we're going to do now is probably just go half a turn on each side. You know the adjusters are all the way back. It can't be out of adjustment if you turn both the same size, same amount rather. Keep things out of the way before you turn the wheel. Perfect.
Yeah.
You can literally now just get your finger in there. That is
absolutely spot on.
Absolutely spot on. The figure in the book is 70 to 80 Newton meters. I set them all to 75. I think the actual owner's handbook does say 70, but the actual official workshop manual says 70 to 80.
Okay. So somewhere in the middle is good.
Yeah. 60, 75. Again, that is just started spinning on the other side, so I'm just going to put the T-bar through.
Yeah, I noticed
on
that
the spindle.
that does do it. So yeah, just
so just simply through and hot. Doesn't take much, just a little bit of tension, just while you're pulling down that bolt.
yeah, I found my little thin socket set bolt went through.
Absolutely, it doesn't
off
need
the
much,
wrench.
it just takes a fraction just to hold it in place.
Beautiful.
And that's the adjustment done. Now all we need to do is just lubricate it. Have you got a preference on lubricant? Do you use wax or lube?
I don't think I've ever been asked this question before.
Not many people have. A lot of people look a bit confused by it. So we use both. The bonus about wax is it goes on and dries really quickly, as you can see by my
Oh yeah.
adjuster, my clean plates I call it. It's always covered in wax. A lot of people like wax, especially ones that are less prone to maintenance, because they can see that the chain needs doing. If they can't see the wax, they tend to do it. It stays on better through winter, but if you're
Well, let's have a look at the wax then, because I can see the difference then.
Yeah. Okay, so depends on the quality of wax using. Some waxes, I mean, this is a heavy build-up, it's incredibly white. If you put it on correctly, you can barely tell it's more opaque, whereas a lube is normally completely clear. So we're just going to spray the roller first in the centre, all the way around at least once, normally twice. Go. And we're going to spray the surface. So this particular area doesn't really need lubricating. The bit that you're lubricating is the roller that's in contact with the chain wheels.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is more for dressing than anything else. So simply hold, I mean, we're at the right height, so I hold my finger on the swing arm and we simply spray. Turn it relatively quickly. And if it's put on at about the right amount, as you can basically see, it just looks slightly opaque. If you put it on too thick, then you do end up with a chain that looks like it's covered in a wax candle.
Yeah. So that's a good tip as well.
What I'm going to do, I'm just going to do the other side, so you might want to stand back for this, come spraying through from the other side.
Okay.
So it does tend to go a little bit everywhere, as you can see.
Yeah, see, I'd never think to go around the other side. And
No, a lot of people don't. It's pretty much only ever done on service, it seems, but this side I always put a lot more on, so you will actually see the difference. Because it is the side that's not lubricated as much, you can actually see that's white.
And now we've got rid of that collector box as well. There's loads of space there.
Yeah,
isn't there?
there's nothing in the way.
Yeah, it's
Makes
kind of
life so much
really,
easier.
really freed up that area.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can probably just see that light film on it. And it smells nice, that stuff, doesn't it?
Yes, bananas.
Yeah, bananas.
It actually does smell, make your workshop smell quite nice. Of all the things in a
Yeah.
workshop,
If you could get smells on YouTube, it smells great in here. It's
Now with the brake cleaner, I'm going to basically just clean the strainers down. And what's there, wash down, you can actually physically see.
and they're both the same size, so you can't get them wrong.
Yeah, the bolts are the same, the strainers are the same, you can't get them wrong. O-rings. We change them on first service and every major service. We don't do them on the one in between.
Right.
Basically, obviously Enfield say this particular model, the majority of the time doesn't need service until 6,000 miles. So we're not changing these on the minor services, only the majors and the firsts.
Right.
So we have one on each of the strainers. Goes in, and same on the dray bungs as well. They've also got O-rings on them, both identical. I always lay them out in the position I take them out. I think that's just more an OCD thing than anything else. But they are both the same thread.
Just get them in hand tight as well. And
Yep. Always start them by hand, never start with a tool, so guarantee you'll cross thread them.
yeah.
Same thing again, 17mm. If you ever do a service from scratch on yourself when the bike's never been serviced by a dealer, you'd be amazed how loose these feel. They almost feel like you can do with your fingers. They feel that slack, but they are only a very, very light torque. I think it was something like 15 Newton meters, really light. So it's pretty much that's it.
Yeah.
So
again, people will probably be a bit overcautious with that and crank them up a little bit too much.
I tend to go a little bit too tight with them. I'll just work them a little bit, a couple of times. Again, just my own personal thing. I mentioned that before, 14mm Allen key.
14mm,
14.
so it's a big one.
It is a big one.
I don't think I've got one of those in my set. I think that's like a special tool.
Yeah, I broke mine on a car many years ago. And what I've actually got now is a mirror extension hole.
That's cheating.
It is cheating, but it's made so well that has probably been lasting me now for years.
Wow.
Doing all sorts of calipers and everything, but it is such a snug fit. I mean, it's snug.
That's unbelievable, isn't it?
But yeah, it's just something I just...
You're giving away all your trade secrets here, you know.
Because it works, I've just not replaced it.
Everybody's going to be rooting through their old stuff now.
Yeah, looking at lots of mirrors for bikes.
We've all got them bits in there that we've not seen for years. So yeah, just kick a bit of oil out. So yeah, definitely need the blue roll there.
Yeah, just to keep it at bay.
I've bought this tool as well since the last service, although I've not used it, but I've got it just in case.
When you do come to use it, you'll think, oh my god, why didn't I have one of them before? A pair of circlip pliers, you think you don't need it, but it just makes taking the oil filter out so simple. Especially on a really hot engine, that is a good tip.
These are the genuine Royal Enfield ones.
Nothing other than genuine in filters. Pretty much, no matter what we service, even if it is something that we don't deal with, we will try and get a genuine filter. 99% of the time it will always be genuine. Very expensive 14mm Allen key. Lightly and carefully.
I mean, again, everything's just so accessible on the bike, ain't it? Really, you know, it's.
Yeah. There is nothing difficult to get on or work with.
You know, there's no taking bits off to get to things, or.
It's one thing I've loved since we took Enfield on is everything is just so simple, straightforward. It is where it should be without any overly complex machinery or bracketry in the way it just works. I can guarantee just there, it's going to smell of oil when we first start it up.
Yeah.
Brake cleaner's everybody's friend. Can become quite tight on the little rubber seal as it's heated and cooled up a few times.
Right, so what type of oil we're going to be putting in?
We use So Clean. It's Super 4 1040. One good thing about this engine, Enfield realised now that we recommend 1040 straight from the factory.
Is that semi-synthetic?
It is semi-synthetic.
Right.
We do offer a fully synthetic upgrade if customers want it. I don't think it's really needed. Most semi-synthetic oils these days are far superior from what they used to be years ago. And the bikes that we've seen that have been running semi-synthetic, even bikes that have been run quite hard, we've had no issues with them.
The proof's in the pudding.
Yes, indeed.
And how many litres do we put in?
Approximately 2 litres. Depends how hot the engine is, how long it's been draining for. Sometimes whether your ramp or your even garage floor is completely level, it does have an effect on it. So we fill it up until we start to notice the oil level creeping up the glass. It's already up to probably the upper quarter of it now.
And then it probably just needs that time to
settle
and soak into the filter.
We'll leave that for a moment once we've done that. Around halfway up the dipstick or sight glass, you can see we're roughly about at this point. Because this actually does sit in the way, if you find it difficult to see around it, especially if you're working on your floor, what I recommend is go to your caliper at the back. If you push your caliper over, so you're actually pushing the piston back slightly, what then you can actually do is push that further down because it will like more travel because then you push the piston back out. They are quite firm to move though, so you really have to put a lot of effort into it.
But it's not too bad. You can still see it, can't you? And
at the moment we're probably about just over halfway. I will tend to fill them to just under the maximum mark. I believe the book actually says dead on the mark, but you've still got to allow for oil.
As in the
drainage.
top mark?
The top mark, yeah. That top little lug here which sits here, and also its sister across from it. So ideally it should be across the two. Anywhere ideally between the two, halfway to full is pretty much in my opinion perfect. I tend to do 3/4.
Yeah.
You still have to filling this up. I guarantee you could leave this for 20 minutes and not move, but you come back an hour later and it'll be right up here on the sight glass.
Yeah.
because it's just going to take a while for gravel.
And it's a nightmare to take it back out again.
Yeah, you can always add so much easier you can remove. So yeah, definitely. So we'll leave it like that for a minute. We'll check your spokes and tyre pressures while that's settling, and I think we're almost there.
Fantastic. And another upgrade for this bike as well, I put these pannier racks on, as you can see, with this OS Krieger platform, so we can have the soft bags on this bike, and they've been working really well. Again, really well thought through with the soft bags. The Krieger stuff, Craig's brilliant, you know. I know I've got the Lone Rider stuff as well, that's very well made.
Yeah.
Again, you get what you pay for. I know people that have gone cheap and tried to buy the copied Amazon ones, and they've dropped the bike and they've ripped off. I've put these through the paces. They work really well, and yes, they are expensive, but you just know they're well built, and you know, I only had to buy them once.
Right. Are you still running standard tyre pressures?
I
Still
can't.
on the 32, 32, or have you running a bit softer, or
I'm still running the standard ones, to be honest.
36 with Amy on the back? Or we still reckon 32, 50? 32 all round still. So we'll see how these have settled. I think your gauge at home might be out a little bit. Showing 36, but
Right.
tyre is not cold, but I'll run it to about 34.
Yeah, because I do carry a pillion most of the time.
Yeah, I think the Enfield figures do say you don't need to adjust them for a pillion at all, but I think most people tend to run them at least a couple of PSI up from standard, where most of Enfield range do say another 4 PSI for pillion.
I guess it depends on how heavy your pillion is.
Exactly.
I have to be careful here, Craig.
You've
You know.
got to be very selective on what's said here. You will have to do some very creative editing otherwise.
See, now I've got one of these tools, but I've never actually used it.
On this particular bike, this particular version is absolutely useless because they don't use a nipple on this side. They're actually on nuts on the inside of the actual hub. If you can see just in there, you can just see the thread come through and the nuts on the inside.
Yeah.
I've never had to adjust a spoke on the new 450s yet, so I've never had to get in there to adjust one. Every one has come through with tension, dead true, and not shook loose in the slightest.
So would you have to wheel out job, and it's like,
yeah, because you simply
can't get to them.
You would probably have to take the wheel off and at least the ABS ring, but the ABS ring holds a disc as well. So you might as well dismantle the entire thing and start again. But it's just all done by ear. Perfect note.
And what would you hear if it weren't?
It's a very dull thud. I don't think I've got anything that'll be loose. It's pretty much a kind of
okay.
It is so dramatic.
It's quite noticeable then.
It's a proper.
Right.
It's that different because there's no tension on it. Nothing resonates. It's just a straight thud.
We should get you on Britain's Got Talent. That's quite a catchy tune.
Or you can just do it by hand. A lot of people just do it by.
So there would be
just a little.
A bit of movement there.
Yeah, you can almost feel a creak sometimes as the spoke itself will actually rotate slightly in the actual wheel or the hub, depending which way setup it is.
Look and never do, and like me.
There's a very subtle difference.
Yeah.
It's not loose. You can just hear it.
So that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, they might, when it comes to its next service, that one
Right.
might need adjustment. But that is the difference between a tight spoke.
Yeah.
It's very subtle.
Okay.
Some, if they're really loose, it will just be a straight thud.
Yeah.
So literally we are here. So almost 3/4 of the way round from the valve.
But these ones would be easy to tighten up, wouldn't
These
they?
would be easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
This one, obviously, you've got access. You've not got a hub in the a disc in the way. This side of the machine, unfortunately, you have the same setup as
So
the rear.
only on the one side.
Yeah. If you're lucky enough, you can get a spanner on it.
Yeah.
It'd be good, but like anything,
Depending on which spoke it was.
which spoke it is, because it's 6-sided, I would always recommend getting a socket on as opposed to just an open socket that you're only gripping 2 sides.
Yeah.
So, yes, we'll continue on that side, see if there's any more. If there are any more, any loose than that, we might have to remove the wheel and just check them.
Okay.
It's fine.
You should be in a band.
we was just saying the same. We're saying like we're going to enter him into Britain's Got Talent.
Perfect. Just that one that's very slight, not to the point where it needs any maintenance doing to it yet, but when it comes to its next service, that might want nipping down. So on the other set of wheels, if you're using them more for off-road and more aggressive stuff, it's worth just checking them.
Yeah, okay.
And because you're on tubeless sets on your other wheels, that is at the top, so you can use your proper socket tool to actually tighten it down properly.
Okay.
Close to 10 minutes, and we are very, very close to that maximum mark at that. I'm very happy just to leave it as it is.
Yeah, perfect.
Gone. I will take this for a road test because we've had a brake component off. If the worst case anything happens, it's going to happen to me, not the rider itself. So,
do we need to put the GoPro
on? Let's not have evidence of what might happen. Service light reset. Okay. It is red, so it will reset. So reset them.
To reset the service light,
put the bike into 6th gear. Make sure it's on the service due or overdue. Sometimes these are white if it's only just coming up to service. Majority of the time they'll be in red to let you know these servicing.
Okay.
Make sure it's on that screen. The little toggle button on this side, we're pushing it over to the left and holding it, and the dashboard should change. There we go. To the new setting.
I'll see you in 365 days time.
It definitely won't be 6,000 miles.
I'm going to try and put some miles on it for you next time. We need to get that major service done, don't we?
We do. Get them valve clearances checked and sorted.
Yep, that's great. Thank you, Craig.
No problem.
Once again, fantastic service at the Smalley Cross dealership in Derbyshire. I'm going to pop the link in the description so you guys can come and check it out for yourself. And if you need your Hemi 450 servicing or that cable delete, then I'm sure Craig will be able to sort you out.